Hey, brothers and sisters, here we are in beautiful downtown Newark. I'm in my room here in the monastery, and happy to have the opportunity to get together with whoever's out there, and to answer any questions that you may have of any kind. And it does not concern me if you interrupt with your questions. You can, at any time, I'll stop and try to answer them as best I can. I'm going to try to give you a little bit some update on where we are, what's going on here at school, and then we can just have a kind of a discussion. So number one, we've been in school now for about 4 weeks. This is the fourth week that we've not been all together every day. And although the kids are off this week for Holy Week, and they'll be off next week, well, I believe our faculty is so smart, number one, and so savvy and driven to make things work for these kids that we stopped school on Friday, and on Monday we were in school face-to-face on Google Meets and on Zoom, where teachers could see kids face-to-face, kids could see the teachers. We have people writing on smart boards in their classroom from their house somewhere. It's amazing to me what goes on. And then the backup that makes that all possible with Dexter and our IT department, which is Dexter and one other person. So a lot of exciting things have happened. We're working hard at trying to continue to build community at a distance, which interestingly enough is not completely foreign to monks, because that's our life, living alone together. And so just allowing that to continue to leak out of the monastery, so to speak, into the community of the young people that are entrusted to our care is what we've been trying to do. We have Convo every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8:30. You're certainly invited to be there. And Convo runs the same way as the bill from California, from Bolivia, from England, all over. So it's exciting. It's a testimony to our kids, the student leadership, and as well as the creativity and the tremendous energy and drive of our adults on the faculty and the other staff, so to speak. There's a couple of other things. Any questions? If there's questions, start typing, and either I can read them or Dexter can feed them to me at any point. Of course, the big question is what's God asking us in the middle of all of this, in the middle of this seeming catastrophe, huh? And that takes prayer. It takes silence. I was just reading last night, in fact, in the book of Exodus, the 14th chapter, where Moses had led the Israelites, the Hebrews, out of Egypt. And Pharaoh then realized that it was a bad idea to let them go. So he went after them. And Pharaoh's army was chasing them from behind, and all of a sudden they're confronted with the water in front. And the people began to complain. Huh? Why did you bring us out here? We told you we were better off being slaves back there. It's interesting how we can get accustomed to slavery, whatever it is that enslaves us at this moment. What is it it's a good question to ask. What is it that enslaves you? Right? Sometimes it can be jealousies. It can be an old anger that you've been hanging on to for years. It can be concerns about money. All kinds of things can enslave us. And it was interesting that the Hebrews would say, well, we were better off. We should have stayed slaves. You had to drag us all the way out here. Now we've got Pharaoh coming after us to kill us and the water in front of us. And God said to Moses to tell the people I will fight for them. All they need to do is to be still. Something to think about in these days of difficulty, of darkness, of death, to work on our ability to be still and abide in the Lord and allow the Lord to show us a way, because the very next line is God told Moses, after he told him to be still, tell the people to go forward And it wasn't until they decided to go forward in faith that the way opened. Moses lifted his staff over the water, and the waters parted, as we know from watching the movie. And they were able to cross dry shod, so to speak. The Lord will make a way in this mess if we're able to be still and abide in the Lord, abide in the mystery of the divine, and then to go forward in faith, not certain what's going to happen. And that's what we have most difficulty with, especially in the United States. Walking, trusting in the Lord, not knowing exactly where we're going. We always want answers. We always want assurances. And we live in a precarious moment in history right now, and we have to become comfortable with the precariousness. And the Lord will then take over for us, so we trust in Him. I hope that may help somebody that's in need of some help this afternoon. Other things that continue to go on here, we, in addition to Convo, we have our counseling center is super active. Kids are in contact with counselors. Counselors are talking to kids all the time under the direction of Dr. Sinclair Davis, who, by the way, just lost his mom last week. I was speaking to him yesterday, and he's busy with the kids. Dr. Lamort also helps to participate with the kids that way, John Rowe. So we're in touch with the kids all the time. We're working, the leadership is working on group games, how to figure out ways to do group games. We've been in touch with next year's freshmen, and they've been coming to meetings on a regular basis with Mario Gallo. And we still have the possibility for applications if there's people interested in applying. You better get them in a hurry, though, because the class is almost full. Remember, we have a group of 8th graders moving up to 9th, and then we have 90 already new 9th graders. So if you are interested, you better get it into us in a hurry. I have no idea how long we'll go to school this way. I'm prepared to do it as long until the governor says no. I just got a text back from the governor a few minutes ago. I thanked him for what he was doing, and he responded. He just recently announced today, in fact, that schools will be closed indefinitely. I do not believe we'll come back to school this year. And I think it's a question of what the fall looks like, frankly, but more to come on that. College placement, the guys have been admitted to schools all up and down the East Coast, by and large, places like Bowdoin, Haverford, the United States Naval Academy, Boston College, everywhere, Seton Hall, Stevens Institute, University of Delaware. So Tulane, the College of New Jersey, that part of what we do is going fine. Nobody's asking me questions yet. You just have me yakking here. Somebody better help me out.
All right, Father. I was waiting for you to pause for a little bit. We have a few.
Financially, here's what you need to listen to. Financially, it's a disaster.
Hey, Father. We have a couple of questions. I was waiting for you to pause.
Go ahead.
All right. One of the first questions was, how are you and the monks doing physically? Are you guys okay?
I'm doing great. The monks are doing well. Brother Aziel was a little bit under the weather, but he just took solemn vows with Brother Simon a couple of weeks ago, and I think we're doing fine. We're living together at a distance, right? Life together at a distance, and so we've spread out kind of in the Abbey Church. We're still praying Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament at 5 a.m, and vigils at 6, followed by morning prayer, lauds, midday prayer at 11:50, the Eucharist where you all are remembered at 5 o'clock, and then evening prayer at 6:45, and we pray night prayer, Compline, privately in our rooms. So it's we're doing what monks do. Just trying to search for the mystery of God in the midst of all of this. So we're all doing fine, I would say. And I'm doing well. You can see me. I'm doing fine too. I work out every day, and continue to get bigger and bigger. So we'll see. What else, Dex?
Plans for trail, plans for the overnight, and membership for guys.
Yeah, great question. The trail is. I don't know when we'll do the trail, but the class of 2023, I guess it is, will do the trail. about, I don't know when, in fact, the governor today just closed all the state and county parks because people were going out there and congregating. So I have no idea when all of that's going to open. So when it does, then we'll figure out a way how to do the trail and also how to do the overnight. The overnight is it's something like the like baptism, right? It's very important to understand what baptism is. You either have to understand it before you're baptized, or you come to understand it after you're baptized, as Pope John Paul II said. So that most of us were baptized as infants, so we didn't understand anything about baptism. We've learned about it afterwards. And the same thing is true with the backpack and the overnight. When it happens is not as necessarily as important in these circumstances as that it happens. So it'll happen sometime. It may happen in the middle of somebody's freshman year that the overnight happens. And the trail may happen sometime in the middle of their 10th grade. We don't know that yet. All of that has to get worked out. But it will happen. I can tell you that because I know you guys out there won't let it be any other way. So I hope that helps. Any other questions, Dex?
Any specific donations or places to donate for us to help us out?
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about next. We took a beating when the market dropped there a couple of weeks ago. Right, we lost several $1 million, $3 million, $3 to $4 million in our portfolio. Some of it's been recovered now. Go figure, the market's going back up. But in these precarious times, finances are always a problem because you don't know how much tuition you're going to be able to collect, which one of our parents have lost jobs, unable to work, how much money we're going to be able to raise. It's a precarious moment. So we have to rely on you guys and ladies, and on the Lord. That our gala that usually generates a lot of money for us has been postponed, has been canceled. And but we're having a day of giving, and we're relying on people to participate in that on that day of giving, because in order to make these numbers that we have to make this place, to make it financially feasible, we need everybody's help. So and in these times, everybody can make an excuse. There's no doubt about it. But so I'm asking that you find a way to make a sacrifice for the sake of these students. We just had a senior today whose mother is a home health care worker, which takes her out of the house for several days at a time overnight. He's taking care of his 7-year-old sister and his grandfather, who used to keep an eye on him, and his grandmother. His grandfather died today, and his grandmother's not in great health. That's just one story. There's story after story about that kind of thing, of guys living in difficult situations where spaces have had to be rented out to other people to have enough money to survive, and you've got people going out of their apartment every day that are coming back in, and you don't know whether they're infected. It's very, very, very difficult. So there's a lot of suffering going on in this moment that our counseling center and Dr. Lamort deals with and hears about. So any help that you can be in these moments financially is essential to us. Is essential. That's all I can say. I guess the good news is that the precariousness of the operation is no more precarious now than it was in 1973. And we're still able to sit here and talk about it because it's proof that God exists, that God is real, and God is in our history. So we need your help any way you can do that. What other questions do you have, Dex?
The status of our Leahy House students. Where are the kids now that live in the house?
Yeah, most of the kids in the Leahy House are all back home. There's only 3 or 4 kids that are still over there, one of whom Leahy House is home for him. And he's been there since he was a freshman, I guess, and will continue to be there. No, he's a senior now. Will probably be there when he goes to college as well. And not the first time that's happened. It's happened for a lot of young guys. We have a Wall Street investment banker now, who this was home when he was even in college at Wesleyan University. So that continues. Those kids are all at home, either in their home 5 blocks away or home in their own country. And when they will be able to return is completely up in the air, because presently the president has shut down passport issuing and visa issuing. So we don't know where that's going to all wind up. What other questions?
The class of 2020 and their graduation and or PG years, are they going to do another PG year if they're not finishing up?
No, they'll finish up. Guys will finish up. I mean, I gave some of the names of the schools where guys are going. They'll move on. The question remains: we move on to what? Will universities be back on university campuses in September? I don't know if that's clear. All you need is 1 or 2 infected people in that population, and you got a mess going on again. So I don't know how life is going to continue. I think it's changed significantly for the foreseeable future, and how those things will happen remains to be seen. You have to be willing to live with uncertainty. But our brothers and sisters in 80% of the world live with uncertainty every day, every single day. It's just us in the Western world and in the U.S. who think we have it all figured out, right? I mean, the precariousness of life is part of 80% of the world's experience from the moment that they wake up until the moment they go to sleep at night on most of the planet. And this is our opportunity to be united with them in our hearts and in our minds to understand what they live with. So when we come out of this, we may be more sensitive to the rest of the world. I suggested this to the kids too, and it may be helpful to a lot of people, that when you pray, in your imagination, allow the Holy Spirit to carry you in your imagination to intensive care units in a hospital near you. I just fell off the ledge here. Hang on. In a hospital near you, and try to imagine. Excuse me, guys. Try to imagine what life in those emergency rooms and in those intensive care units must be like. And unite yourself with those doctors, those nurses, those cleaning staff who are putting themselves at risk every single day for our brothers and sisters. So if we're uncertain and we feel the precariousness of life, we can unite ourselves with them in prayer. And then what God does, I have no idea. All I know is after plague, after plague, after plague, after plague. And remember, the Hebrews experienced the same plagues that the Egyptians did in Egypt. And after the 10 plagues, a way out finally appeared. So you have to keep your courage up, keep praying, and we're also investigating the CARES Act. So there may be opportunities for relief there. The president has said that he wants the faith-based institutions to get some relief in these situations. So we're working on investigating that as well very hard in our business office. Pat Napoli just told me to quit dropping my phone. I didn't drop my phone on purpose. It fell in the. You should see the rig I have here. So I mean, it just fell into my drawer down there. I had to pull you guys all out again. So Napoli, leave me alone and stop aggravating me. What other questions, Dex?
We have several about the day of donation, the best way to give, preferred way to give. Can you give right now to the day of giving early?
Yes, absolutely. You can give absolutely any time. Yes, and you can do that by going on our website, www.sbp.org, and you can give now, and you can certainly give on the day of giving as well. Absolutely. We need your help. Don't wait. Wait is what broke the wagon. So do it now. Keep going, Dex.
I just want to mention that C is here. Cordero's here in the chat. We have a lot of alum. Do a quick check-in. Chris Holleran, 84. Isaac Tucker Raspberry. Kamonte Crooms. Marco Massanis.
Hey, Buttonhead, are you still living in Cincinnati?
Yes, he is.
Jared, listen, boom, boom. Jared Boone teaches with us here in our middle division. He was the senior group leader in 13. And he just told me, good job, Gramps. I give you, leave me alone. You guys send this stuff in just to aggravate me at 4:30 in the afternoon. But this is, I don't know, it's hard not to be able to see you, but it's fun for me to do this. I appreciate your questions and your interest. Chris Holloran is here from California. I've been talking to him regularly. I talk to him more now than I did when he was a kid, when he wouldn't come to school a lot of the times. We had to go find him, he and his brother both. What else, Dex?
What's the percentage of kids participating online in classes right now?
What do you think? Do you think that they cannot participate? The attendance has been 99%. 98.7, 99%. They've got to participate. What are you talking about? It's not optional. There's nothing. It's not optional. They have to be there. And if not, somebody's all over them by calling them before. If they drop off of the screen, John Rowe, Ivan, Lamort, somebody's on the phone with their mother because their mothers are home, right? They're not out at work. So the mothers come in and yoke them up, and all of a sudden, boop, they pop back up again. So attendance runs 99%. Actually, attendance is better this way than it is when we're in convo in school together. It usually runs down about 97%. So yeah, it's you guys acting like it's optional to do it. You have to do it, and the kids are doing it in uniform, by the way, in uniform. It's very, very important that you keep a certain kind of mentality when you're going about doing this work. And you have to know before you get in a fight. Just listening to Rob Newson. Rob Newson was a SEAL commander, and I was listening to him talk to Michael Bradis' brother, who's an emergency room physician in New York City. And Rob was talking to all of the emergency room residents and some of the faculty of the hospital and university in New York. And he was saying, before you get in a fight and in a battle, know what your principles are. You don't want to be deciding your principles in the middle of the fight. You want to know what your principles are before you go into it. So it's very, very important that guys be dressed for school. This is not lounging around like going to the opera where everybody falls asleep. So you have to be prepared for it. So that's just one example. The guys have been great. The student leaders have been terrific, and the kids have been great. Even those guys that have the most difficulty have been working at it. We've been able to jump on them when there's a problem. Actually, the other thing, I was talking in the beginning about the creativeness of the faculty, is that Ivan Lamort actually has an office set up virtually. So if a teacher has trouble with a kid, the kid can be told to go to Ivan's office, and then Ivan can get on the computer and talk to the kid one-on-one. I also have an office there that they can chase kids to my office. So, but if you went to school here, I have a tendency to forget people when they go to my office. And so Ivan is better at it than I am getting there to deal with the kids. So the system, the structure that's in place is the exact same system that happens when we're all together, because of the creativity of Dexter and the IT people, and then the imagination of our adults and kids to put this all together so that it works just like it would work on any other day of school. Question, Dex?
Good one here. What is the role of the students right now in this process?
Well, the role of the students is to continue to boss us around. I got a call early last evening, and from one of the senior leaders saying, can we have a meeting? The girls at Benedict Academy and Elizabeth want to have a meeting. So I said, you tell me. So he set it up, and before I came to you, I just came out of that meeting with the girls from Benedict. Some may know that Benedict Academy has announced it's closing. sadly. And so I've been talking to some of the leadership over there with our leaders. But those meetings were set up by our guys. Convo is run by the kids in the morning. The prayer is led by the kids in the morning, and attendance is done all by the same way as Convo does, with the students and the group leaders reporting into the section leaders. So it's the same role that the kids had when we were all together. What else, Dex?
From Brian Delaney, as someone in top physical shape, what are you doing to maintain your level of fitness?
Yeah, so I've been working out. Yesterday was a killer. I haven't been using weights. I've been doing body weight, right? So yesterday was a ladder, one burpee, 2 mountain climbers, 3 sit-ups, all the way up to 10. So by the time you got to 10, you were doing 10 burpees, 20 mountain climbers, 30 sit-ups. So you went all the way up 1 to 10, and then back down 10 to 1. So it involved like 245 sit-ups, and you can do the rest of the math. It was brutal. Various kinds of workouts like that I've been doing. I haven't been lifting weights, so I could, I guess, but it's a little bit harder when you're by yourself. So I don't want them to find me pinned under a barbell on the HAB floor 3 days afterwards. It gets a little messy, you know what I mean? What else?
This goes along with the seniors. Do we know what's going to happen with athletes right now?
With what?
Yeah.
Athletes? Yeah, no, I don't know. No idea. It's very interesting to watch, though, the struggles that some guys who are athletes, certain kinds of athletes, have when they don't have it, the sport. Because the mistake that's frequently made by parents with the kids, is that if you see yourself only as a soccer player or only as a basketball player, well, when you're not playing soccer and you're not playing basketball, you don't know who you are, which is very, very bad. And that happens in this country, unfortunately. It happens a lot of places in the world around soccer, but it happens in basketball all the time here. So I have no idea what will happen. I mean, how do you put people in that kind of proximity to one another? You can't. How are you going to play defense from 7 feet away? I mean, until all of this stuff gets sorted out, until there's a vaccine, just like there was for polio, which I remember when I was a kid, it was huge. Just like there was from smallpox, just like there is for a variety, for mumps, measles, and rubella. I don't know what the scientific world is going to say. So we have to wait. We have to wait, which is the characteristic of a Christian. Waiting, living and waiting, and that's our task right now. Because I can see some of these questions that are coming up on my screen, so you always have to have wise guys, right? So Jack Napoli now is being a wise guy, throwing up 8 million questions across my screen here. But there'll be a day that retribution will be exacted. What else, Dex?
Just another question about incoming freshmen. You talked about it a little bit earlier. Maybe you can go over it again. The freshmen have been. The question is, when is incoming? Well, they've already been incoming because we've been already meeting with them. Mario's been meeting with them on a pretty regular basis. I think there's another meeting tomorrow, as a matter of fact. We've already had the incoming freshmen working, and when the overnight happens, we don't know. It'll happen. I just don't know when it'll happen. It may happen in July as normally scheduled, July 29th or something. It may happen in September. It may happen at Christmas time. I have no idea, but it'll happen. Guaranteed.
Are you currently involved with Baraka or the Murphy administration to help address COVID-19?
Presently involved with the mayor?
Yes, or the governor?
Yes. I was on the phone with the mayor the night before last. We have there's a group of faith leaders here in town, both from the Islamic community, from the various denominations of Christians, and I'm not sure there are any rabbis on last night. But every night we're on the phone praying at 9:30 for the city and for those who are suffering in the city. The mayor frequently gets on the call. He doesn't always speak. He did the other night, so yes, we're in touch with people in town on a regular basis. I was on the phone just a couple hours ago with the county executive also, and so yeah, the people rely on the Abbey. It's interesting. They rely on the Abbey for prayer power, the power of the Holy Spirit in the midst of confusion. And as I said, I just had texted the governor or emailed the governor thanking him for his leadership, and he was back to me within 4 minutes. That doesn't say anything about me. I'm not saying it for that reason. I'm saying it for the importance of this place and what it means in this state. Anything else, Dex?
Looks like a parent asking about the plans for 2020 and graduation, what we have planned right now, what we may do later.
Yeah, we actually, I was just talking to Didier Jean-Baptiste, who heads up our college placement effort, along with Suzanne and Jacob Drill, Suzanne Muller and Jacob Drill. We're already, I don't want to say too much about it because other kids don't know about it yet, but we're already planning over a series of days the Presidential Award dinner, so we can talk about each of the kids virtually, and then what shape some culminating project, some culminating experience takes. We're not clear about that if we can't be together. I would say the same thing right now. I would say whether graduation happens on the first Sunday of June or whether it happens on the first Sunday of November, I don't know that, but it'll happen at some point, right? So I remember, this is a little bit not vulgar, but you'll understand what I mean. When I used to be in a hurry to get answers for things, when I was a kid, my father used to look at me. My father was a construction guy, right? He was an operating engineer. He'd look at me, he'd say, listen, don't pee until the water comes. But just wait. So I think that's what, we'll see how all this sorts out in the course of time. We don't have to make the decision until we have to make it. And in fact, Rob Newsom also said to the doctors, the SEAL that I was talking about earlier, also said, don't pull the future into the present. Deal with what you have to deal with today, and then deal with tomorrow's challenge tomorrow. And don't be pulling the future into the present. And that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what the leadership team here is trying to do as best we can. Not pulling the future into the present. Deal with today's challenges, and then deal with tomorrow's when they come. Another reminder, that day of giving, by the way, I don't know, I gave the date, is April 23rd. April 23rd is the day of giving. But you can certainly make a gift before April 23rd. But on April 23rd, I need you to show up, so to speak, and to make that a huge success. So the gala, which usually raises us over $100,000, so we can recover that money for the sake of these kids, some of whom I told you about, and the sufferings that they're experiencing right now.
Wei Zhang's in the chat. He wants to know how the international students are doing, if we were tracking them.
The international students are, well, some of them are doing well. I would say all of them are doing all right, but it's a little bit difficult depending on where they're from. Our kids from Korea, for example, are on a whole other time frame, correct? So that's a little bit more difficult for them. In fact, I've been because we can't get out, I've been trying to get the kids from Korea to give us the picket number, because they're a day ahead, right? So they'll know the number before we know it. So if they can send us the picket number, we could then play it and solve our financial problems. So I'm waiting for the June and those guys to do that for us. The guys that are in this part, more in this part of the world, just further south, South American guys, we're in touch with them on a regular basis. I was talking to Joaquin Hurtado from Santa Cruz, Bolivia, and he's JR's dad. JR is a student here. Joaquin graduated here as well. And the concern, obviously, is that the virus moves south with the winter in the southern hemisphere. And Bolivia is now experiencing some difficulties. They're under martial law, and we're only able to go out every other day, depending on their ID numbers. For those of us who are old enough to remember the gas rationing, if your license plate ended in an even number, you could go on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. If it ended in an odd number, you went Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Well, they have a similar situation right now in Bolivia. Places in Ecuador are suffering horribly. We have a lot of kids whose families are, and the kids are from Ecuador. There are dead bodies in Guayaquil on the streets. It's a horrible suffering right now. So, just as I said, unite yourself in prayer with brothers and sisters around the world. It's very, very interesting that this virus has made a lot of walls fall down. It matters not whether you're a Muslim or whether you're a Jew or whether you're a Christian or whether you're a Hindu. We're all suffering the same thing in the same way. And it makes us realize that we are all one in God, in the mystery of God. All one. And we've worked hard at trying to deny that until this thing hit. So it's very, very ambiguous to me. Yes, lots of people are dying, sadly, and we pray for them. But this gives us an opportunity to look at the world and look at our brothers and sisters in a different way.
Just a time check, Father. It's 4:40 now. You have Mass at 5, so we have probably about 5 minutes left.
I would also say that meeting for the next year's freshmen is tomorrow at 3:45, and I'm meeting with the seniors. As a matter of fact, I'm meeting with the seniors tonight at 8 o'clock. So, as I say, all these things continue to go on. The discussions continue to go on, just like with a regular school. And I want to emphasize and underline again, all of this is only possible because of the tremendous behind-the-scenes work of Dexter and the IT folks, and the creativity of our kids and of our adults who are super energetic and super smart. I mean, they dazzle me. Now, that doesn't take much to dazzle me, so that may not say that they're super smart. They're just smarter than I am. But that's all you have to do. You want to be a leader. You have to make sure that there's a lot of people around you that are smarter than you, and that's certainly the case right now. What's going on here is amazing for us. So if there's no other questions, we'll do this again. I'm sure Fazio is going to want to do it again. He's going to be all over me as soon as this call's over. I look forward to it. I'm grateful for everybody coming. And pray for us. And I promise at the Eucharist here in a few minutes at 5 o'clock, I'll have you in my heart as we pray. And pray for everyone, brothers and sisters who are suffering a lot right now. So keep your courage up, and I look forward to seeing you the next time here, and it won't be that long. It won't be too far down the road.